my right, Commanding Officer of the 49th Precinct, Keith Walton. And to his right is Tyrone Vaqueros, and he's our Crime Prevention Officer, and that's Kate Padona, and she's our Recording Secretary. We have a lot of gallery steps, which is good. I would ask you, when you do speak, when you get a chance to speak, do not tell us anything that could be dangerous. In other words, don't say things like Charlie Clark's is selling drugs on the corner.
Any sensible argument?
I'm sorry, Brian.
Thank you.
So don't say things like that. If you have a complaint like that, please wait until after the meeting, and you'll have a private audience with Captain Walton. Okay, we're glad to be back at Eastchester Gardens. Eastchester Gardens, it's always a pleasure to be here, and as you can see by this kit that we are raffling off, one of the themes of today is, of course, your safety, the safety of all of us. We always, and people become complacent after things don't happen for a while. And people become complacent. We can never, ever be complacent again. Summer's coming. We have to stay vigilant. One of our worst tragedies, of course, is fire. And we all should be aware there's a little information about what you should do and what you shouldn't do. But one of the things that you always need to do is to make sure that you have your important papers, make sure you have water, make sure you have a radio, make sure you have a flashlight, and of course make sure you have a first aid kit. People with children should know this, people with grandchildren should know this, people who live with the elderly should know this, and always have a medical kit. So, that being said, and later on I will introduce some other people, but we're going to bring Captain Walton up. He's going to give you a rundown, because a lot of things have happened. Throughout the police department. And we're going to make this the kind of community that we always wanted it to be, has been, but we can make it better. Captain Walton.
I'd just like to say good evening. Once again, it's a pleasure to stand before you. Such a great turnout here at Eastchester Gardens housing development. As you know, the command has been very busy, and the last time I stood before you, I was bragging about the decrease we had in crime. Unfortunately, I'm not bragging so much because we have experienced a slight increase in crime, and I'll get to that in a minute. But before I start, I would just like to bring 4 individuals to the front. 4 probationary police officers are currently in the academy, who is currently assigned to the 49th Precinct for 3 weeks. I just want to give these men and women an opportunity to introduce themselves. What they're doing in the academy now, 20 years ago when I was in the police academy, we used to go through our training. We didn't know what we would be assigned. Today, under chief of the department, chief of patrol, and our first deputy commissioner, what they're doing now is they're going through the police academy. Before they get assigned to the precinct, they actually know what precinct they're coming to. So you're actually looking at the next 4 officers that's going to be the addition to the 49th Precinct family. So I would just like for you to welcome them to the 49th Precinct. So just briefly, I just want them to introduce themselves and say why they took this great job and why they was inspired to take this job. We'll start off with you.
My name is Officer Nunez. I'm just happy to be here. It's such a great community. We look so close to each other, to the 49. I actually took this job to give back to the community. I was being, I live in the Bronx, and he's happy to be here. Happy to work with you guys along each other. Thank you.
everybody. My name is Officer Once. I come from the Spanish community. I'm very glad to see that the community is really close. I come from Rockland County. I immigrated here when I was 6. Ever since then, I always saw police officers, what they did, and it always inspired me to help the community give back a little bit of what they give us. So here I am, looking forward to helping everybody once we get back, once we graduate, and see you guys all soon. Thank you.
Hi, how you doing, everyone? My name is Officer Santana. Since I was a kid, I always wanted to be a cop. When I immigrated here when I was 15 years old, and it's a great feeling when you actually work so hard to get a job and you get that job that you really like. Yes, and thank you, everyone. I love the community.
Hello everyone, my name is Kathy Henry. I want to give back all my life. I want to give back to the community. And now that I'm assigned to the 49 precinct, I feel like you guys are part of my community now. And I just want us to work together so we can make this the best community that we can. I'm from Harlem, so right over here.
Thank you. Before we begin, I would just like to give out my telephone number for each of you individuals who don't have my telephone number. So please, I'll give you an opportunity to take out a pen and a piece of paper so you can call me direct if you have an issue or concern. First, we'll start out with 646-634-7105. 646-634-7105. I must say, I want to start off by saying I'm a little bit disappointed. So many of you have my telephone number, but I didn't receive the telephone call this past Friday, which is my birthday.
Well, you didn't tell us it was happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear comfortable. Happy birthday to you.
I want to say it's my second birthday. It's not actually my birthday. This past Friday, the 22nd, I'm so proud to stand before you, was the day in which I was baptized. Okay? So, I just want to thank Pastor Good and Evangelist Sledge, for your support. Rabbi Thompson, thank you. It's truly an experience to be baptized, So they say the 3 E's, right? You go tell everyone. Now it's my job to educate you, right? And try my best to be the best evangelist I possibly can to let you know that whatever you're aspiring to do, whatever you're going through in life, you cannot do it alone. You need God on your side. Trust me, okay? So, let's get back to the 49 precinct, all right? Well, like I said before, we experienced a little bit of an increase in crime, but you guys are still safe in some of the categories. We're still down in murder, we're down in robberies, and ultimately we're down in shootings. Unfortunately, for the week to date, we experienced a 50% increase with 27 versus 18, which is an increase of 9 crimes. Robbery, we're down 1, 4 versus 5, for a decrease of 20%. When we look at the felony assaults, we're up 100% with 2 versus 1. Burglaries, which is our biggest problem right now, and that's in Sector Boy and Sector Adam, in the vicinity of the Morris Park area. Okay, so we experienced 5 versus 1 for an increase of 4 for 400% increase. Grand larcenies is also hitting us pretty hard. Grand larcenies were up significantly for the year and also the 28-day. But 15 versus 7 for an increase of 8 for 114% increase. We're doing very well with GLAs. We're down 1 versus 4 for a decrease of 3, a decrease of 75%. So when you move over to that sheet of paper that I gave you for the 28-day interval, you can see that we're up 44%, an increase of overall 33 crimes. So we're kind of flat with rape 1 versus 1. Robbery, we're down 4 and 19 versus 23 for a decrease of 17.4%. Now, when you come to the felonious assaults, you can see that we experienced an increase of 11 with 17 versus 6, an increase of 11. That contributes to 183% increase. When you look at our burglaries, like I told you before, in which we were spiking significantly, you look at 20 versus 7, an increase of 13 for 185% increase. And we look at our grand larcenies, 45 versus 22 for an increase of 23 for an increase of 104%. Like I said, we're doing well with the GLAs. 6 versus 16, we're down 10 for a decrease of 62%. Now those categories in which I spoke to you about before, although we are taking the grand larcenies, the robberies, we do have a significant increase with our arrests. So as people commit these crimes, they are actually being arrested. Just to give you a success story, this past Sunday, we experienced 2 robberies, commercial robberies, within an 8-hour time interval. One that happened at the Rite Aid on Boston Road, and then that one happened at the Shell gas station on Allenton Avenue. My crime team did a phenomenal job. They responded in a timely fashion. They put the complainant/victim in the vehicle. We conducted a canvass. That individual was able to point out the person who was responsible. We was able to apprehend that individual, and we recovered the firearm. So, phenomenal job on their behalf. But I know statistics are kind of boring to each of you individuals, and I'm pretty much sure that you will want to ask the questions or address the issues and concerns that you have. Let me just say, most recently in the Eastchester housing development, we did have shots fired recently. We do know of the attendant. So in Eastchester houses, we did have shots fired recently in the vicinity of 1260 Burke Avenue. There was 2 intended subjects. Fortunately for us, no one was shot. We do have great video, and I want to thank the Eastchester community, because a lot of individuals that reside in Eastchester came forward and helped us. Hopefully we can identify this individual. So, because we know a bullet doesn't have a name on it, and we recovered 7 .45 caliber shell casings. So that was 7 bullets that were fired that didn't hit anyone, that could have hit someone, okay? So what are we doing about it? As you can see, I have the light towers here. I've had one light tower on AD Ave, and I'll put the other one on Burke. I've made it mandatory to have a housing car at Eastchester for all 3 platoons. I just increased my housing unit by 50%. I added 6 additional officers to the housing unit. So at one point we were operating with 1 sergeant and 6 officers. So now we have 1 sergeant and 12 officers, okay? And that's pretty much it. Eastchester has been one of our most violent housing developments by way of shootings. Wow. Last year we had 11 shootings. Wow. 5 of which was in Sector Ida. Of those 5, 4 were actually on housing grounds, Eastchester grounds, okay? 2 of them was crew related, gang related. 1 was robbery, the motive was equated to a robbery, and 1 was domestic related, okay? So far out of those 4, we have arrests on 3, okay? So we're still endeavoring to find that individual who fired the shots most recently in September, okay? Other than that, this is gonna be, they're gonna ask you questions now? I would just like to turn it over to our crime prevention officer. He just wanted to give you some tips. When I spoke about the felonious assaults, the majority of our felonious assaults are domestic related. In my domestic violence unit, they're really overworked. I have a total of 1 sergeant and 7 police officers. They input at least 40 domestic violence incident reports in the command each day. So you take the 40 and you multiply that by 7, it just lets you know how many domestic jobs we respond to a day. And the overwhelming majority of our domestic jobs that we respond to really do come out of our 3 housing developments, okay? The overwhelming majority. Grand larcenies are really hurting us, and we're not in the business of blaming the victim, but I can't say it enough, how individuals are walking about the street, going about their daily activities, and their faces or their heads or their eyes are glued to their electronic device. So when your device is snatched or somebody uses force to remove that electronic device, you can't give me an accurate description of that person who perpetrated that crime. Why? Because you weren't paying attention to your surroundings. Once again, we're not in the business of blaming the victim, but we have to take our own measures to keep ourselves safe. Now, our grand larcenies that we're experiencing a spike with, a lot of these are due to accounts that have been compromised. So what I suggest with that is, please shred your material before you discard it, okay? Just don't throw your mail, your information, personal information out in the garbage without shredding it, okay? Secondly is when some of the people who own cars, we're seeing a rash of breaking in vehicles throughout the command. One of the largest items that are stolen from cars, and you wouldn't believe it, is wallets. People leave their wallets in the car. What's inside the wallet? Credit card, personal information, money, so on and so forth. People are also leaving their laptops, the iPads, and so on and so forth. So we're not blaming the victim. I just want you to take this back to someone that you know so they can tell somebody that they know, listen, remove your personal belongings from the vehicle. So enough for me. I think I stole your show, but the crime prevention officer, Tyrone Maderos, is basically going to inform you of some tips of what you can take to help prevent yourself from being victimized by way of crime. All right? And I'll talk to you in a little bit. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Officer Maderos. I'm your crime prevention officer. As the captain just said, there's a lot of things that you can do to keep yourselves from being victims of crime. Like in terms of automobiles, don't leave valuables in your car. Don't leave them visible. I would suggest just don't leave them in your car whatsoever. Shades, change, your laundry, your shoes, your sneakers, just don't leave them in the cars. They're going after everything. Another thing that the commanding officer touched on was burglaries. There has been a bunch of burglaries happening in the area, specifically in the Morris Park area. In that area, what happened was elderly victims, elderly homeowners were getting victimized by a specific perpetrator. It was going through their homes while they were actually in their homes.
Wow.
This is not really common when it comes to burglaries. Most burglaries happen in the daytime. Not many happen at night. In this particular instance, the pattern of burglaries were happening in the nighttime. One of the things that they all had in common is that none of the houses had a security system in them. While this is a very nice area, while this is definitely one of the safest precincts in the city, you gotta remember, this is still the boogie down. Can you hear me? Awesome.
Speak into the mic.
One of the things you have to remember is that this is the Bronx. Crime does happen here. You should invest in your homes to protect your homes. One of the things I suggest is getting an alarm system. If you're going to look into an alarm system, get an alarm system from a well-established company, something you've heard of before, something you've seen on TV. Try not to go for fly-by-night companies, something you've seen across the street. Go for something you know. One of the things to know about security systems is that these days they have sales just like everywhere else. They have a President's Day sale, they have a 4th of July sale, they have a back-to-school sale. I don't know why, but they do. If you're thinking of getting a security system, try and get them on sale. If you're not sure what you need in a security system, call me. I do what's known as physical security surveys. I look at your home, your locks, your windows, your doors, points of entry. I look at the walls, depending on the premise. And I'll give you recommendations as to what you can do to better secure your home or your business. If you'd like to take down my phone number, I'll give it to you now. Actually, it might be on that green piece of paper already, my office number, but I'll say it anyway. It's 718-918-0555. 2026. That is my office number. One second. My cell phone number is 917-864-3686. And 914-864-3686. What I provide is a free service. All you have to do is basically call my office or leave a message. I'll get back to you and we'll set up an appointment, and I'll come to your home or your business and do this for you, as long as you live or work within the confines of the 49th precinct. Another thing that's been driving crime has been grand larcenies. Grand larcenies by way of a multitude of different avenues. One of them being from cars, expensive items, someone leaving their Michael Kors watch in the car. Don't do it. Other ways that there's been multiple drivers of grand larceny is from credit card thefts, bank thefts, check thefts, forgeries, things of that nature, things that influence your banking accounts. Thieves are getting your information in a multitude of different ways. Sometimes they'll go through your garbage to get your personal information. Sometimes they will get your information by people who are not honest at their jobs, like say a gas station or in a restaurant. Some of those ways you can't really control as to protecting your own information, but there are a lot of things that you can do to protect your information. One of the things you could do is invest in a cross-cut shredder if you want to get rid of your more documents that have important information on them, like utility bills, anything with your social security number on it, things of that nature. Invest in a cross-cut shredder. Another thing to also avoid, if you can, for those who still pay your bills through the mail, is to avoid using postal service mailboxes. The ones that are on the street, the big blue ones. Unfortunately, criminals have figured out a way to get into those boxes, and they are getting into them and stealing mail and stealing checks. Unfortunately, check washing has come into play again. It used to be an old crime that has come back, and they're doing it with great precision, and they're rewriting checks. In other instances, they're taking those checks that your information, actually creating new checks using the numbers of your own checkbooks, of checks you haven't even written yet, and cashing them out to random people. One of the things you could do to protect yourself against that is to not put your mail in those mailboxes anymore. Please go to a post office, and drop them inside the postal service. That is about the most secure way you can do. The most secure thing you could do in order to protect yourself from that type of theft, that type of ID theft. If anyone has any questions, I think I am.
Now we want Detective Sturdivant to enlighten you about the upcoming events in the 49th Precinct community. Jay?
Hi guys, how are you? Good evening. Most of you know, some of you don't. Detective Jay Sturdivant, Community Affairs, the 49th Precinct. Very briefly, I will be brief. This Thursday, we have a blood drive between the hours of 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you want to give blood, come to the 49th Precinct. We're at 2121 East Chester Road. A lot of, summer's coming and we're having a lot of events that are happening, and one of the events that Captain Walton and I and some of you guys in the community have come up with a game night that we're going to have in Zimmerman Park, May 20th and May 21st. We're going to have a whole bunch of television, TVs out there, flat screen TVs and game consoles, and you can play games with the police and play games with each other, and it's just going to be a fantastic time then. We're going to have face painting, we're going to have popcorn, we're going to give out food, we're going to give out water. It's just going to be a great event for the kids in Zimmerman Park. We're trying to bring back the community over in Zimmerman Park with the area of Parkside and the Coops and all the surrounding areas. So if you want to come out, come out. May 20th, May 21st, we're having a game night. This is our first annual game night, and it's going to be a great time. The time frame, we're going to work on the time frame. We're still working out the logistics of it all. 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. That's the times of the game, May 20th, May 21st. Thank you very much.
Okay. Excuse me. I don't know if most of you realize this, but, and a lot of people here know Jay Sturdivant from the old days when he used to patrol out here and everything. But give him another hand for just making detective not too long ago. Okay, introduction, Jennifer Cruz. She's our Assistant District Attorney. And so if you have any questions in that direction, she'll be able to answer them. She's just going to say a few words. Jennifer?
Hi, again, my name is Jennifer Cruz. I don't really need the mic, but I'll use it. So our office, with the help of the 4-9 and the remainder of the Bronx NYPD, we're keeping very busy. I will reiterate what Captain Walton has been saying, that robberies are perhaps one of the most prevalent felony cases that we receive. And I just want to remind people again that you really should be aware of your surroundings and think about what is considered through the eyes of a perpetrator to be a very vulnerable and easy target. So, just be aware of that. And whenever I see people walking alone in the dark, talking on their phone, heads down, I think to myself, what an easy target that is. So just be aware of that. As I said, we've been very busy recently. We have a new district attorney, Darcel Clark. We've had a lot of trials, and I just wanted to mention some notable convictions that we've had. A couple of weeks ago, a mother was found guilty of manslaughter when she fed her children antifreeze and then drowned them to get back at her boyfriend. So we just got a guilty conviction on that. Then this past week, one of my assistants in my trial bureau was able to secure a conviction for a murder in which the defendant shot the deceased over a dispute over 40 cents. So it just goes to show just how senseless things can be and how people truly have no regard for life. And finally, from one of the other trial bureaus, with the help of Bronx Homicide, they were able to solve a 26-year-old cold case of an aspiring Dominican Republic baseball player who was shot 3 times in the back. So we're being kept busy, and again, we rely a lot on the help of NYPD. If any of you ever have questions about a case that's outstanding, an open matter, or just a criminal question that you have for me, I'll give you my number. It's 718-838-7336. A few of you have taken advantage of that, and that's fine. Feel free to call me whenever you can. So that's my job. But my primary job is the job of a mother and a wife, and I live not too far from here in the 4-9 precinct, and my boys have belonged to the Van Ness Little League for about 8 years now, and Van Ness is celebrating their 60th anniversary, so if anyone's interested, it's $60, it's June 11th, it includes cocktail hour, a band, a DJ, open bar, full dinner, and dessert. So if you are interested in the dinner dance, see me, I have some flyers, and again, feel free to call me. Thank you.
I get an opportunity to hear the human side of law enforcement. Okay, we're going to go into neighborhood reports. And first, let me introduce Joe McManus, State Committee man. Joe? And we're going to go into neighborhood reports first.